Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I'm going to be covering something that honestly, it's not a complete surprise to me. This really kind of seems just in line with what a company like YouTube or Google would do, but it's something that may surprise a lot of you. Now, I will go ahead and say, personally, I have had no issue with this happening. It hasn't happened to me, but then again, I don't know if it's because of, maybe the browser that I use, maybe I'm just lucky to not be affected, I really don't know, but there's basically a bunch of allegations now going around against YouTube from the community, and by the way, there is proof. This isn't just people making this up out of nowhere, but people are now accusing YouTube of essentially adding code to their website that just like not shuts down the website, but slows it down significantly and makes it harder and more frustrating and annoying to use for people who are using the website on especially Firefox, which is an internet browser that is a pretty massive competitor to Google Chrome, which obviously Google owns YouTube. And also Google/YouTube have been working extremely hard to try and knock down these ad blockers and these third-party add-ons and extensions that a lot of people use to kind of circumvent advertisements on YouTube and other websites. Now, YouTube has been trying to kind of crusade this fight for pretty much half of a year now, and it's just been going overwhelmingly bad for them every time that they try this. And I actually predicted that this was going to happen, right? Because, you just look at the history of the internet and online people, right? They're not just gonna, cower down when you try to do something like this. They try to get rid of Pirate Bay, and they try to get rid of, BearShare, LimeWire, all these other places, right? They tried to do all this stuff to break down all the piracy and whatnot. It never worked. They tried to stop people from downloading, YouTube videos and Twitter videos. That didn't work. They are now trying to stop people from using ad blockers. It's not working, right? People are going to always use them. But as it stands right now, it appears that YouTube is adding code to the website that is putting up to a 5-second delay on the YouTube page for people simply trying to use the website. So there's a couple tweets that I found that really kind of break it down. There's actually an entire thread here that is kind of just breaking down what YouTube did, maybe even what line of code or what action in the code is carrying out this supposed delay, but it appears that a decent amount of people are being affected by this. Now, personally, I don't use Firefox, so I don't know. It hasn't happened to me. I don't know if it's just specifically that browser or if this is something that might be going on across devices or whatever that aren't using Google Chrome natively or whatever. So, according to this tweet, the piece of code that is basically causing this issue, right, says set timeout function resolve 5e3, 5e3 being 5,000 milliseconds, or simply put, 5 seconds. So basically within this line of code, which is one of the, millions of lines or whatever of code that probably build up the YouTube website, right? This specific string of code that has been added is artificially causing people to have longer wait times and whatnot. So let's say you're on Firefox and you try to click on an Optimus video to watch. There may be a 5-second delay before that page fully loads, which, a lot of people who maybe are a little bit more patient are like, oh, well, what's the big deal? You gotta wait another 5 seconds for the video to load. Jesus, you guys are just a bunch of pussies now. You're crying over nothing, right? Well, the problem is for people like me and really anyone who knows anything about online computer usage and whatnot, right? If your website is taking 5 seconds to load every single page, right? That is a huge design flaw. That's a huge performance issue, and that significantly degrades the user experience. People are not wanting to use YouTube like they're watching it on 1996 dial-up internet, right? People are wanting to use it like it's a modern website. They want the actual product to load when they click on it, So I think that this is going to have some pretty bad looks, I guess, for YouTube, because not only have they essentially added a line of code to the site that adds an artificial delay and makes the user experience significantly worse, but it's being done for a pretty anti-user experience and reason anyway, right? So there's really only a couple reasons why this would be happening specifically on non-Google products, essentially, right? So there's two ways this could be going. Either A, YouTube/Google added this as a way to check for ad blockers in your browser or on your computer, and within that 5-second time frame, it's doing all the checks or whatever that it needs to do, and see if it needs to load up an ad blocker message for you or whatever, right? Which doesn't excuse it. It's still annoying and it's still pointless and it's still making the website worse. Or B, this was being added deliberately by YouTube and Google in order to essentially punish users who are using, the Microsoft Edge or Firefox browser, whatever, basically for not using Google's built product. Which, if true, is also really fucking scummy. So, pretty much no matter which way you look at this, right, this is not a good look for YouTube. I mean, there's just no reason why something like this should ever happen, right? There's no excuse. Now, if they are doing this to, check for ad blockers, it's a more antiquated way, I feel like, to do that, right? There's so many websites online. I mean, pretty much every major, news publication, your Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, Fox, whatever, right? Pretty much anytime I load up articles on their website, there's no 5-second delay in loading the article. It just loads it, and then 2 seconds in, it'll pop up the ad blocker message or try to get you to buy a membership to the website, right? Google/YouTube does not have to actually freeze the whole page for 5 seconds in order for this to, I guess, check for anything. So it's really coming down to a petty ass move from YouTube that really doesn't seem to serve much purpose other than, helping them in the long run, right? Well, I've talked kind of about things like this, right? And if this is the way that it's really going, right? This is just YouTube kind of deliberately telling the community to go fuck themselves. I mean, let's just call it for what it is here, right? Because YouTube sees that they're losing the ad blocker fight. Let's just go ahead and be very, very open about that. YouTube already knows that. And if they don't, then the people who are running the company are actually incompetent, because it doesn't even take a general knowledge of internet history to realize that you're not going to stop tens, if not hundreds of millions of your online users who want to use an ad blocker on your site. Now, of course, the reaction to this news has not been very positive for YouTube either. A lot of people, they're seeing this, they're looking at this whole thing, and they're just basically figured out that, they're not necessarily happy. Some people are saying also that this isn't limited to, the Firefox browser, and it could happen on any browser. I don't really know. Once again, this is not something that's happened to me personally. Now, once again, though, I need to clarify, that might be the case because I have YouTube Premium, right? So I have a paid membership. I already have, the ad blocking feature that YouTube is trying to sell you. But even then, I still support people using free ad blockers because, I mean, nobody really wants to pay for premium just for ad blocker. I get that. And then on top of that, they keep increasing the price of YouTube Premium. And sure, you do get a pretty good deal out of it, but even then, man, I mean, most people, it's like Netflix and everything now, right? They just keep every 4 or 5 months raising the price of all of this shit. They're not really adding any new features or giving you any new reasons to be excited for the price increase. They just keep increasing the fucking price. And then they're well, I wonder why everybody's using these free ad blockers, man, instead of paying us $15 a month. But anyway, YouTube actually has responded to this, I guess, if you want to call it conspiracy theory here. Jumping in, the browser you're using doesn't affect video loading speed. Try these troubleshooting steps. Disabling add-ons and extensions, trying an incognito window, etc. They should solve your issue. Now, obviously, nobody believes them because YouTube lies about pretty much fucking everything. And I just want to point out, it's pretty interesting. It could just be because this is one of the typical responses you give people in a situation like this as a troubleshooter. But I find it pretty interesting that the first thing that they, stepped out with in the troubleshooting steps was disabling your add-ons and extensions, which all ad blockers essentially fall under, right? So, not sure if that was an underhanded way of them being hey, get your ad blocker shut down, or if that's just them yeah, I don't know, maybe your Groupon or whatever shit you got plugged into your thing isn't working right. I don't know. But obviously people didn't believe them, and I don't know if that's something that they anticipated or not, but people are still continuing to believe that YouTube is essentially destroying their own site and putting the equivalent of time barriers up to punish users who aren't doing what they want them to do. And it's kind of sad for YouTube that they've even devolved to a point where people automatically believe that they're lying like this, right? Because, I mean, this is a company that if for the last several years they actually addressed their community correctly and they didn't do the dumbest possible thing at every single turn and then try to cover it up all the time when it doesn't go well, they may have a little bit more benefit of the doubt here, right? They may have more people actually on their side, right? But yeah, they did respond. I'll give them that. It was another one one of these like pretty much automated Team YouTube replies. No one really takes any of that shit seriously to begin with because usually it's a robot responding, but it's just kind of like an interesting game of tug of war that's really developed between YouTube and its community. And YouTube, for some reason, doesn't realize that they're not going to win this. I mean, for whatever reason that they would do this and like add a 5-second delay or whatever to people's experience on the website, there's no real justifiable reason. And yeah, it's a first world problem for sure, right? Like, oh, you gotta wait an extra 5 seconds to watch a YouTube video, you poor pitiful thing. It's just more about not annoying your entire customer base and all of your creators off of the platform because you want to win a battle against something you can't win against. And for YouTube too, this is also not a good idea because what if this pushes people to other competitors? Now, I mean, obviously YouTube is still the top dog of video media online, and they probably will be for the foreseeable future as well, but I mean, there are places like Rumble out there, right? And Odyssey and other websites where people can upload content. Now, given their communities are much smaller in comparison to YouTube's, but I mean, even then, right? If you constantly are like harassing your audience over these fucking ad blockers and not using Chrome, whatever it may be, right? Whatever conspiracy it actually turns out to be, all you're doing is giving them more and more reason to be like, yeah, I don't like YouTube, okay? And then when a competitor finally does kind of seize the opportunity, sees that window of chance that they have to kind of knock YouTube, maybe stumble them off of their fucking top dog status a little bit, right? Then you've given the audience already all of the premeditated reason to leave your platform. It's not a good idea for YouTube because this is a company that seems like over the last few years, they want the community to believe that they like really care what everybody thinks and like they really care about all of us and our opinions. But if that were the case, we wouldn't even be seeing shit like this, right? I mean, this is a literal line of code in the website that you can find. It's not like this is just some conspiracy people made up. Like, this line of code exists. You can find it in the website, unless YouTube already went in and took it out or whatever. But, I mean, several threads about this already have gone viral on Twitter. There's already been, you know, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that have interacted with this and found out about it. They're sharing their experiences. They're trying to get down to the bottom of what's going on here. YouTube just continues to shoot themselves in the foot, and I don't understand why. So, anyway, with that being said, man, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about YouTube and signing out.